Hello everyone, my name is Ojo, a young Nigerian who uses poetry as a undertow to write his frustration with society. And I'm really humbled and delighted to be here, and it's a pleasure for me to share a selection of my poems. And I do hope that the observation of beauty and the joy it communicates brings you the most pleasure as it does brings me whenever I read these poems, whether in person or online. And the title of my first poem is called Chromosome. These poems aren't mine per se. They are my mother's mothers. They are the battles of the woman who has been told again and again that her body is an empire of pain and silence. They are the battles of the woman who suffered at the hands of my father, whom she adored and who somehow loses his temper and moral sense. They are the battles of the woman walking barefooted over cassava fields with yam stems in her hand. I wish I wasn't tired of her sadness. A door flung open with weak tea in the stem. Synapses of pretty chimera. The truth is, I live too close to the surface of my mother's body, a ghost in a colored chef. To see all the names a body can carry, my mother appears in my dreams, innocent in jacket. She becomes a flood, swallows my father, and calls it freedom. The second poem is titled Surveillance Camera. The doctor says my mother is suffering from retrograde amnesia, and it will take long, if not 8 years or more, for her to kiss the nape of any hunger. I press my hands against her body and listen to the war on television. A child's love is both in milk, tooted worry and tooted grief. I want to believe in rebirth, that what comes from loss is a form of fibrous light, partitioned into many rays. My mother is a poem, liable to come apart, if touched without a heart. Can I give her today since she has lost hold of yesterday? What is memory, if not the proper noun for a woman caught stealing into her own body? I give my mother a new day and a spark. Tell her to sift through boxes of photos and old videos and be ready to weave the working sphere of a body still empty with another inside. It's uncanny how much she no longer cares about a fish flick pond. She talks to herself like a witness. The stillness of moths on a vase of tulips. The shame of birds without seed. A book lies nearby in a room filled with dust that light brings. Picture this. Think of a keyboard in a forgotten earth in August, where someone presses the delete button. And when I thought about the petals of a dead magnolia blossom, I knew I wanted them to mean nothing and suggest everything. That we must make meaning to survive. How it feels to stand outside a house fallen off this umber world. I look at my mother and see a door where things go to lose their names. Either way, history does not end in borders. And I understand when people say you don't miss what you don't know. They mean there is no environmentally safe way to remember. The third poem is titled The Word Abduct. A war burns at the edge of the map I live on, and the smoke rising from a burning mesquite reminds me of Borno, Adamawa, and Maiduguri. And every month of the same year, bones fall from the sky like dead beds. And another man was found dead this morning in the alleyway, behind a gay bar, and etched into his forehead, the police found the word, Kwe. The title of my fourth poem is called Narrow Memories Enter My Room. There is something divine about happiness crowned with holes. What does it mean to flinch at a word like passing? Today I return to all the domestic names for sadness. Today I both my hands into a house full of butterflies. In this dream, joy is a form of orgasm, and I choose between water and fire. Water. I mean to say there is a name for what grows inside of me. When I open my mouth at odd hours, I usually mean I'm bleeding. The word fire is better as a verb than as a noun. I've seen my father beaming after a lifetime of loss. It is July, and there is no harmony here. What does it even mean to write a joyful poem? It means all the joy in life comes from giving to others, and all misery from only thinking of yourself. I put life up to my lips and drink. A flock of sparrows with darkness lurking around my ears. What did I know? What can I say? I return to the sea again, as I often do, and look back on an old friend, yearning for others. My fifth poem is titled Fox Suicide. It was written for Ernest. Today my room is warm and I'm thankful. I can recognize my sorrows and I say hallelujah. There are still songbirds outside my window. Listen, in this poem there are no grenades, only liquid days full of black humor. This chair where I sit all through the slanty, rusty twilight is a chair again I chose this morning. Why does joy follow trials and not the other way around? I slush through my tweed feet and my mind is clear to yet. Breathe. No one falls into fire deliberately. I would like to be a writer and build a family. Recently I read, when power goes out, give your neighbor a hand, a mirror, and a paperback, a surprise of goodwill. As it stands now, here is a maize cup in my hands, slender, and this means it is June. The last poem I'll be reading for this event is called Every Saturday. My mother talks about God like it was folded into her body, very gently, like sifted icing sugar in beaten egg whites. She sings a worship melody in Yoruba, a body painted in holy magic and honey, a voice quivering with feelings. A kind of light spreads from her, and everything in the world changes color. My fears, a flash of night inside a losing fist. There is no higher power than this. A woman's voice, dull and beautiful, made up of tools, paper, screws, and sandwiches. All space is occupied. My heartbeat, the small mass of milky sweat. My feet, the gaze lovely and lovely. My mother assembles the prosperity of my tongue, and time becomes a stiletto knife, a baptism from the inside. And I write an orange morning, beautiful as a homely will leave behind for the generations to come. Thank you so much for listening, and we've come to the end for this event.